I never thought a simple Friday night would be the one to pull the thread that unraveled everything. My name is Peter, 38. I've been married to Nancy for 12 years. We weren't passionate anymore, but we were steady, safe. Our lives had settled into a quiet rhythm: work, dinners, the occasional movie night, and every so often, a long hug that reminded me we used to be more than partners on a schedule. That night, Nancy told me she had plans. Girls' night, she said with a small smile and freshly done hair. I kissed her on the cheek and told her to have fun, pretending not to notice the perfume she rarely wore anymore. I spent the evening folding laundry and catching up on emails. By the time she returned, it was past midnight. Her cheeks were flushed, eyes shining, but it wasn't the wine that struck me. It was the glow. Something was different. She looked free. Did you have fun? I asked. She nodded, then hesitated. We need to talk tomorrow. I said okay. I didn't ask why. I just nodded and watched her walk into the bedroom, but my stomach twisted. The next morning, she was quieter than usual. Made coffee, fed the dog, and sat down across from me without small talk. That alone made my pulse jump. I felt something last night I haven't felt in years, she said. Her voice wasn't angry or dramatic, just calm, focused. I laughed. She went on, really laughed. I felt like myself again. Not a mom, not a wife, just me. I didn't say anything. I was trying to hear every word without letting them crush me. I don't know what's happening to us, Peter. I'm not cheating. I haven't done anything like that. But I don't know how to be in this marriage if I don't feel alive. It felt like someone had knocked the wind out of me. Not because of betrayal, but because of how true it sounded. I miss us too, I said, my voice dry. I miss you. That's when she cried, quietly. And when she reached for my hand, I didn't pull away. It wasn't an ending. But it wasn't a promise either. It was the moment we both realized how long we'd been drifting without saying a word. The silence between us didn't break us. It gave us room to actually look at each other. For the first time in months, maybe years, we weren't just passing each other in the hallway or discussing logistics over dinner. We were sitting with the discomfort, letting it sting. Nancy suggested we go for a walk that evening. No phones, no plans, just air and honesty. We walked 3 blocks without speaking. Then she said, "Do you remember that cabin we used to talk about buying? Near the lake." I nodded. I think about that sometimes. Not the cabin itself, just how we used to dream together. We don't do that anymore. She was right. Somewhere along the way, we stopped building a future and just maintained a present. I asked her what she needed. She paused, then said, space, but not distance, honesty, but not cruelty. I need to feel seen, Peter, not just needed. I swallowed hard. I wasn't innocent in this. I'd taken our routine for security, not realizing it had become her prison. We made a small promise that night. Every Saturday morning would be us time, no chores, no errands, just breakfast and being real. We didn't know what that would look like yet, but we committed to the try, and we kept it. That weekend, we sat on the porch with coffee and just talked. She told me how she felt invisible after the kids were born, how sometimes she wondered if the version of her I loved was gone. I told her I felt like I was failing her every time. I didn't notice how quiet she'd become. It was like opening an old wound and realizing it still bled, but also that it could finally breathe. Later that week, she laughed at a dumb joke I made, really laughed. I hadn't heard that sound in so long it almost startled me. I felt something spark in my chest, something I didn't expect. Hope. The next Saturday, I asked if she wanted to take a walk again. No pressure. just movement. She smiled and slipped her hand into mine. Our hands didn't feel like they used to, not yet. But they also didn't feel like strangers. Each day felt like we were relearning each other's language. Sometimes we fumbled. Sometimes it clicked. But we were present. And in this version of us, that counted for something. It was the little things that told me we were healing, not grand gestures or tearful speeches. Just the way Nancy looked at me when I walked into the kitchen. The way I found myself listening more closely. Watching her smile with the kids like I used to when we were newly married, back when everything felt new. One night, I was brushing my teeth when she came up behind me, wrapped her arms around my waist, and rested her chin on my shoulder. No words, just stillness, warmth, a moment that didn't need fixing. Then, as we crawled into bed, she whispered, "Thank you for not giving up on me." It hit harder than I expected, because I had thought about it walking away. Letting things break quietly instead of trying to repair something so cracked. But I hadn't, and neither had she. We were both flawed. We still had bad days. There were moments when one of us snapped, or drifted, or got stuck in our own heads. But now we noticed. Now we reached out. One Sunday morning, as the kids played in the backyard, I watched Nancy from the window. She was laughing again, not just politely, but with her whole face, the way she used to. The woman I married wasn't back. She'd changed. So had I, but maybe that was the point. Love doesn't stay the same. It isn't supposed to. We stopped chasing the past and started building something new. From scratch, from honesty, from the ashes of everything we didn't say for too long. We still go on walks, still sit on the porch with coffee. Sometimes we don't even talk. We just exist near each other. And somehow, that's more intimate than all the words we used to throw at problems we didn't understand. There's no perfect ending here. Just the truth. We chose to stay. And we keep choosing that every day, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Because now, when Nancy smiles at me, it's not out of habit. It's real. And I see her. And she knows I do.